The Celtics are now one win away from the NBA Finals.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers are hoping they come back here for a Game 7 matchup Sunday. Jared, what do the Celtics need to do to make sure that doesn't happen in Game 6 and they can close this out in Cleveland Friday night?
They probably need to win it, is my analysis. Other things they can do to help.
That would help.
Continue to play really well in transition. Another great transition night. I don't expect the whole road versus home thing to be cured in this one. Like, it's probably going to come back here for Game 7. You know, Kyle Korver said after the game, mind you, very, very young 37-year-old Kyle Korver, who has been around for almost the entirety of NBA history, said he's never been involved in a series where the home-road disparity has been so significant. I mean, these teams go from being like, the team is about to go to the NBA Finals to like a non-playoff team, basically, depending on whether they're at home or at the road.
Kyle Korver, they actually let him talk after the game because they didn't let him play it. They barely let him play in Game 5.
Well done,
we remembered to put him in at the podium after
Yeah,
the
okay,
game.
good. Wow, it's good that he got a little FaceTime. I don't know. Apparently, Ty Lue can't figure it out that maybe Brad Stevens was saving Ojale for when they put Korver in the game. Did that ever cross his mind? I don't know. But that was a wild turn of events. But Game 6, we'll talk about Game 6. For me, it's more, I think the Cavs are teetering on that mentally weak edge there. So I think that if you break their spirits early on, that's kind of what the Celtics have done here at home. But in Cleveland, it's been the exact opposite. They let Cleveland get out to this massive lead, and then they're just clawing their way back. Or for Game 3, they didn't even claw their way back. But in Game 4, they're just spending the rest of the time treading water.
Right.
You know, and they're not getting to the Cavs. They're not breaking their spirits. They're not making them doubt themselves, or they're not making LeBron James, you know, watch the play, go back the other way. I think they just need to jump up to I don't even want to say they need to jump up to an early lead, but they just need to remain competitive, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the story of the series.
Outlast the Cavs, because I think they're younger and they're more energetic, and I think they've got more wind than the Cavs. So if they can just compete with them in that first couple quarters, I think they have what it takes to outlast them.
Well, how much do you think that has to do with Terry Rozier? Because obviously we've seen him throughout the postseason come out to quick starts. Obviously, not the same numbers we see on the road compared to what we see at TD Garden, but how important do each of you think he's going to be in Game 6 in terms of getting a quick start and overall just putting up a good game offensively?
Well, you know, one of the things that I think will be important with Rozier is whether we start to see the same kind of defensive scheme against LeBron that they had in Game 4, where Rozier has that scram switch that everybody in the world has been talking about, where he's on LeBron and they try to get him out of there. I was one of them. And I'll take credit, whatever. And LeBron was able to really pick them apart because Terry would be running across the court. They would find that open shooter. We barely saw any of that tonight. The only time that they really had trouble with Terry was that they would try to re-switch. They would do a double. They would switch, then unswitch. And that's when they got caught a little bit. So I think a big part of it is how much do they attack Terry defensively? Can they get Terry on an island and make that effective? Offensively, I mean, he played the exact same way offensively tonight as he did in Cleveland. He just hit more shots, really.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with that. Yeah.
Scary Terry. Some of those shots are pretty scary in Game 5. I think he's a little bit in his own head. I think after Game 4, kind of being the topic of a lot of discussions and probably hearing that he was a quote-unquote, you know, mismatch and the weak link on that team. So I don't know how much of that got to him and how much he was trying to overcompensate on the offensive end in Game 5. But I do think he's hugely important in this team, and we've talked about it. He's like to me, he's like the spark plug on offense for them. I mean, when you think about Game 2, what he did in the second half there, he kind of got them going when the Cavs were leading going into that second half. So
absolutely. And
they didn't have that tonight, and that's why I think one of the reasons why this game felt so ugly and like the Game 5 felt pretty ugly. I thought most of the time there wasn't a lot of flow. There wasn't, aside from Tatum, there's really nobody on offense that stood out to me. So I think Rozier is definitely a guy that needs to get going in Game 6.
Yeah, I think that cushion that the Celtics had, the double-digit lead heading into the fourth quarter, obviously played a big part because when they were able to string together those, 4 or 5 straight consecutive defensive stops, that's what really did the Cleveland Cavaliers in those final, 5 or 4 minutes of the game. So hopefully we'll see more of that in Game 6 defensively. Obviously, getting that lead is going to be something that we haven't seen the Celtics do on the road, so we'll see how they do in Game 6. And, you know, let us know in the comment section. Everyone over there watching us, let us know what are the keys for the Celtics to wrap this thing up. Game 6 in Cleveland, as the Celtics just need one
Cavs
win.
Got to play Jeff Green, too, if the Celtics
for the NBA Finals berth. What's that?
Cavs got to play Jeff Green as much as possible as well.
You think that's
good? He was pretty good tonight, actually.
We're going to see Rodney Hood besides garbage time, any chance?
if he's okay with playing.
Yeah, he's not sniffing the court.
I'm surprised no one asked Ty Lue about that. All right, that's going to wrap things up here. CLNS Media, he's Jared Weiss, Jimmy Toscano, I am Josue Pavone.